So I wanted to take a few minutes this morning to talk about the healthy eating plate. It's a concept that I find really useful in thinking about what we eat and why we eat it, and helping to kind of have healthy proportions when we're plating up our food. So the idea of the healthy eating plate is that half of your plate is made up of vegetables and fruit, primarily vegetables, but some fruit also. A quarter of your plate is made up of slow release carbohydrates. The other quarter of your plate is made up of protein, and then a little bit of healthy fat in there as well. So if we think about the half that is fruit and vegetables, what we're thinking about there is all the different nutrients our body needs for the different functions that it performs. So if you think there about all the different colours of fruits and vegetables representing different nutrients that we're trying to get, and if we try and make our plate as colourful as possible, so as much variety of different vegetables, salads and fruits, then we're helping our body to, by supplying it with all the good stuff that it needs to keep us healthy. The quarter of our plate that we're thinking of in terms of slow release carbohydrates, so here things like, for example, brown rice, and that represents the energy that our body needs. So if we think about the carbohydrates in terms of energy, we want that energy to be consistent throughout the day. So something like brown rice, more complex carbohydrates, they're slower to release into our body, and so we get a more sustained release of energy throughout the day. Now, if you also think of that in terms of the proportion of the carbohydrate that you put on your plate, sometimes people shy away from carbohydrates altogether, but I think it's more thinking about it in terms of how much do we actually need. If that's your energy, if you fill your plate too full of rice, for example, or too full of bread, and then you don't burn that energy off, that's going to store somewhere on your body in a way that you probably don't want. So we do need carbohydrate, but we need to just watch the proportion of it that we're consuming as part of the meal. And then that last quarter of the plate is our protein that we need to keep our muscles strong and healthy. And that can be meat, it can be fish, it can be plant-based protein like chickpeas or legumes, whatever works best for your body to keep it healthy. And for me, I find here, again, variety seems to work best. So we're thinking about all the colourful fruits and vegetables giving us all the different vitamins and minerals that we need. We're thinking about the carbohydrate giving us our energy to keep us feeling like we've got the energy to go through our day. And then we're thinking of the protein, keeping our muscles strong and healthy, but again, not overloading that as a proportion of our overall meal. And healthy fats like avocado oil, like coconut oil, like cold pressed extra virgin olive oil, things like that, just little bits of that helps some of the foods to be digested. Some of the foods are fat soluble, and so we need some healthy fat to help with absorption of nutrients. So hopefully that's something that you find useful. It's something that I really do find useful. I prefer to think in terms of guidelines for what I'm trying to include in my diet and trying to keep me healthy, than to think in terms of punishing myself and things that I'm not allowed to have. So I find that a really useful concept. And in our story and in our highlights, there's a plate that I've got that actually marks up your plate into the healthy proportions. So that might be something that you find useful if you're starting to use this concept for the first time. So if you check out our story and the nutrition highlights, I'll post that in there. So hopefully you find this useful, and the plan is to introduce a little bit more nutrition along with all the other things that we're sharing, and hopefully you get benefit from it.